You've watched it 100 times from your kitchen window. A robin lands in the bird bath, splashing water into the quiet afternoon air. It looks frantic, joyful. Then it hops to a nearby branch, completely soaked, and freezes for a long, quiet minute. It sits perfectly still, entirely exposed. Those wet feathers make it heavy, slow, and incredibly vulnerable to the shadows moving in the shrubs. Why would a bird willingly risk its life just to wash off a little dirt? To understand, you have to look closer. Subscribe, and let's watch the yard together. Let the afternoon light settle. Strip away the familiar illusion of the peaceful garden. We look at that simple ceramic dish of water and assume we are watching a moment of leisure, a creature simply cleaning away the soil of the day. But survival does not have the luxury of leisure. Every movement in the wild carries a heavy, physical cost. What you are actually witnessing is a vital act of daily maintenance, a quiet ritual, the only barrier between a warm body and the freezing night air. The first step of survival begins here. The weight of the water. Look closely at the waterlogged robin trembling on the branch. The droplets are not simply resting on the surface of a waterproof jacket. They are seeping deep into the intricate architecture of the wing, pushing past the rigid outer feathers, settling directly against the soft down near the skin. This is a deliberate risk. A bird in this state is pulling immense physical weight onto a fragile skeleton. A frame that weighs no heavier than a single dry cherry is now burdened by cold, heavy water. A wet bird is a slow bird. The physical miracle of the wing is temporarily paused. True flight requires a smooth, tight surface to catch the wind. The water disrupts this entirely. For the next 60 seconds, the bird's escape mechanism is dismantled. It cannot spring vertically into the air. It cannot dodge through the tangled hawthorn branches. It cannot outrun the sharp, quiet movements at the edge of the lawn. The bird is sitting there, recalculating the risk of every single shadow that crosses the grass. Watch the constant, nervous twitch of its head, the rapid blinking of dark eyes. Without access to this heavy soak, their behavior subtly cracks. They stop feeding. They pace the branches. They know their unwashed feathers are failing. The air does not flow right. Their natural armor is breaking down. The water is the only thing keeping them secure. Listen to the gentle breeze rustling the dry oak leaves. A single drop of water falls from a wet branch, hitting the quiet soil below. The second step, the microscopic shield. The bird hops deeper into the safety of the dark leaves, out of sight from the wide open sky. After the heavy water finally clears from its eyes, it begins dragging its beak down the length of each individual feather, over and over, a frantic, rhythmic pulling motion. To us, it looks like it is simply drying off. It isn't. Feathers are not solid sheets of color. They are woven together by invisible hooks, tiny, delicate branches that interlock like a microscopic zipper. Every single day, the friction of simply existing tears these zippers apart, pushing through the dense, abrasive hedges, fighting the sharp autumn wind, scraping against the rough bark of the old oak tree. A broken zipper is a critical breach. It means the freezing night air can leak straight down to the fragile skin. The cold pulls heat away instantly. The water softens the stiff, brittle fibers of the feather. It makes them yield. As the bird pulls the damp feather through its beak, the tiny edge of its jaw physically forces the microscopic zippers back into perfect alignment. On the B1, thousands of them across the wing, it is manually rebuilding its thermal shield, locking out the cold. Wait. Watch the tail. Right there. Periodically, the bird reaches back, rubbing the back of its head against the very base of its tail feathers, then immediately continues working its wings. It looks like a nervous tick. Hidden beneath the soft plumage is a tiny, specialized pocket. The bird is pressing a heavy oil onto its beak. It carries this oil, coating the freshly zipped feathers. The heavy bath washed away the old, decayed layers from yesterday. Now, this fresh wax can grip deep into the clean structure. This oil is not just a rain jacket. It stops invisible, degrading bacteria from silently breaking the wings down from the inside out. A quiet, miraculous preservation happening right above your patio. What is keeping them whole? This single, frantic, daily chore. Notice the low, distant hum of suburban crickets. The quiet rustle of a bird softly fluffing its dry feathers in the shade. But water is only half the battle. Step number 3. The medicine in the dirt. Look down at the dry, bare patch of soil near the roots of the rosebush. A sparrow crouches low in the dust. It throws fine, dry soil over its back, working the grit deep into its beautiful plumage, shaking its wings against the dry earth, sending up tiny clouds of dust into the late afternoon light. It looks entirely counterproductive. It looks like it is ruining the clean bath it just took, but water does not drown everything. There are microscopic hitchhikers in the yard. Flat, tiny stowaways, chewing lice and mites. They cling effortlessly through a heavy water bath, holding tight to the very base of the feathers, relentlessly chewing through the bird's only thermal insulation. The fine dust acts as a physical sweep as the bird works the dry dirt into its feathers. The microscopic edges of the soil coat, the stowaways. It clogs their tiny breathing pores. It restricts their delicate joints, forcing them to release their tight grip. Right there, in the quiet dust by the fence. A silent eviction. Hear only the soft shifting of dry blades of grass in the late afternoon sun. A long shadow stretching across the lawn. The battle deepens in the 4th stage. The fire and the acid. Just a few feet away, a mourning dove lies flat on the hot driveway pavement. One wing sprawled out unnaturally against the baking stone, panting softly in the direct, blinding sunlight. Its eyes half closed. It looks broken, completely exhausted. It is fully in control. The bird is intentionally letting the sun heat its feathers against the stone. It is creating a localized pocket of trapped warmth. The hidden stowaways deep in the feathers cannot tolerate the rapidly rising temperature. It forces them to abandon the cool, dark safety near the skin. They move rapidly out across the outer surface of the feathers, making them perfectly visible, easy for the bird to find and gently pluck away. But the strangest survival tactic of all happens right in the green grass. A blue jay lands softly on the lawn. It pecks rapidly at the ground, picking up a live ant in its beak. Immediately, it contorts its body. It scrubs the small insect deliberately against the sensitive underside of its wing, over and over, wiping the insect fluid deep into its own feathers. Right there in the light, a hidden chemistry. The bird is actively selecting specific ants that produce a sharp, natural acid. The bird extracts this raw fluid, painting it directly onto the hidden stowaways nestled under its wings. It is applying a precise remedy gathered right from the soil, a natural deterrent that stops the mites in their tracks. Would you even recognize this ancient medicine if you saw it right now? We reach the final act, the invisible treaty. Amza begins to set, and the light finally fades from the backyard. Imagine the quiet scale of this silent maintenance. In every dense hedge, along every wooden fence line, up under the eaves of the roof, a quiet neighborhood of tiny, fragile bodies finishing their daily protocol, zipping the invisible hooks, locking in the heavy oil, shaking out the fine dust, because when the temperature finally drops tonight, the stakes are absolute. The wild does not forgive a broken zipper. A bird with compromised feathers will rapidly burn through its tiny fat reserves trying to stay warm. The freezing wind will pull the warmth straight away from their hollow bones. Their tiny hearts will work incredibly hard to keep the cold at bay. The water bath, the dust, the oil, these are the physical boundaries between a frozen night and surviving to see the morning sun. That simple ceramic dish of water resting on your lawn, that quiet, dusty patch of bare soil beneath the old shrub. They are not empty garden features. They are vital, life-saving neighborhood clinics. They are the tools of survival for an entire invisible community living right outside your window. By keeping a shallow bird bath filled with fresh water, by pulling it close to the safety of a low shrub so they can hide while wet, and by allowing a few undisturbed pockets of dry, loose earth to remain under the hedges, you are doing more than decorating a yard. You are quietly signing a beautiful treaty of coexistence. You are offering a safe harbor, a place for the invisible, delicate, and magnificent work of survival happening right alongside us. If you wish to walk alongside these silent neighbors and discover the extraordinary wonders hidden in our ordinary world, press subscribe. Let's explore the quiet corners of this planet together.